Good afternoon. Shall we start? Okay. Am I audible? Online students? Okay. Today I'll discuss few questions and I'll primarily focus on theory areas. I'll give you how theory questions can be tested in your exam. That I'll discuss today. Then I'll discuss some ethical questions. And did I teach you how ethics can be tested in your exam? Questions I give? No, right? Okay, that ethics portion also let's cover today, and the rest things topics I will discuss tomorrow. Just I want to clarify a few things with you all. What sort of areas that I want to discuss with you, Ryan? So please communicate that to me. So far I got quality. I'll do that. Quality issues and professional issues. Uh, Probably tomorrow I'll do it. Okay. Then I got. I think for Indian students also I didn't teach quality issues questions. So tomorrow I'll do that question and reporting questions. I'll do reporting questions. Those two tomorrow I'll take. Apart from that, if anything else that you need to practice, let me know that I'll take those things as well. Okay. Fine. I might miss some of your messages for last few days. Right. So I'll try to resolve all your doubts within today and tomorrow. Okay. Okay, fine. Let's start. So first of all, I'll go for theory questions. Right. This is not standard questions. Huh? Keep that in your mind. These are theory questions. In your exam, theory questions are very less, right? Maybe 5 to 10%, right? But anyway, I'll give you all possible theory questions today, right? I'll give all possible theory questions, right? So it's your duty to find out the answers, right? So it's not a big issue here, but few questions you need to apply your judgments as well, right? So the first question is about assurance engagement. So I'm going to give questions from assurance engagement. So not much examinable, but I'll give these points because at the last moment you can focus on these areas, right? Before you go for the exams, right? So don't spend much time on this, right? Like maximum one day before your exams, just go through and do a session to update or find the answers for these questions, right? So the chances are very less. Like I'm telling, the total theory questions, my guess 5%, right? So you might argue, no, sir, there are more than that. Yes, more than that, but later I'll discuss you standard questions. So theory questions, I didn't include any standard questions. For example, what is auditor's responsibility over fraud and error? So it's a standard question. It is not a theory question, right? So standard question list I will prepare and I will share with you, right? Because all the standard related entire questions I'll put a list and I'll share with you. Those questions, yes, another 10 to 15 marks possible, right? So if I give theory questions, if I give theory question and if I give standard questions together, 15 to 20 marks, you can score easily, maximum 15 or 20 marks. So assurance engagement students, for last 20 years past papers, if we see, there are few areas specifically tested. Other than that, examiner didn't test anything, right? The first thing is elements of engagement. Elements of assurance engagement. So this is a question tested frequently on this topic. But students, if I take 2018, after 2018, it's very rare. It's very rare. And another question, types of assurance. Types of assurance. What are the types of assurance that you studied, students? Limited assurance and Reasonable assurance. I'll tell you one thing. These types of assurance students, there are two types of questions. One is direct questions, direct theory questions. Direct questions. What is direct questions? Right. Explain the difference between reasonable assurance and limited assurance. Those are direct theory questions. One is application questions, also tested under types of assurance. If you analyze the past paper, 2009, 2012, 2013, 2007 December, these years, if you look at this type of questions, it is not direct question. It is also a case study. Case study means I'll tell you certain subject matters they might give. In the case, they might give subject matters. One of the subject matter is PFI. What is PFI? Anyone? Prospective financial information. Prospective financial information. Prospective financial information. It's like this. I'll tell you a story. See, a particular company wants to borrow money from a bank, loan. So they applied for a loan. To get that loan, the company prepared cash flow forecast. Company prepared cash flow forecast, and company gave cash flow forecast as a security to get the money, loan. Now bank is telling, we can't rely on the cash flow statements what you prepared or your internal auditors prepared. Get an assurance from the external auditor. So it's a story. If you look at this story subject matter is not financial statement. Subject matter is PFI, prospective financial information. So prospective financial informations are either income forecast or either cash flow forecast. Either income forecast, either cash flow forecast. So income expenditure, so balance sheet forecast, income statement forecast, cash flow forecast. That forecast can be prepared as a subject matter in order to borrow money from the bank. That type of cases are developed. Under types of assurance question. Then they might ask, what assurance is suitable in this particular type of scenario? What assurance is suitable? Limited assurance is suitable. So there are past papers. They speaks about PFI in the scenario. There are past papers, they speaks about PFI in the scenarios. There are past papers, they speaks about reviews in the scenario. There are speaks about reviews in the scenario. That is very old past paper. Recent past papers you can't find. I think 2005, 2006, those past papers only reviews are included. Right. Reviews are different types of reviews. Social review, environmental review, due diligence is also a kind of a review. So those kind of reviews or interim review. So review engagement related cases are given. Then they ask what type of assurance suitable. In that case also limited assurance suitable. Is that clear? So they will give you a scenario. In that scenario, they discuss a subject matter. That subject matter can be either PFI or review. Definitely that is the case. Question, what type of assurance suitable? What level of assurance suitable? Right. This type of application question is also possible. So please practice one of these questions. This is not theory. This is application. Did you practice a question like this? No. Right. Today I'll share a question tute. My tute question number, chapter number 1, question number 4. Right. If you look at this is the question, which means they give a scenario. They ask what type of assurance suitable in this case. Assurance suitable in this case. Is that clear? Right. Next pude difference between assurance or external audit, review engagement. So there are questions possible where examiner asks you to differentiate review engagement with external audit or reasonable assurance with limited assurance. Reasonable assurance example is external audit. Limited assurance example is limited assurance engagement such as review engagement, PFI, due diligence, anything. This is also a theory question possible. Next one. Direct questions also like explain what level of assurance possible for external audit. Those type of questions. Benefits, limitations of audit. Benefits, comma, limitations of audit. Benefits, comma, limitations of audit. Students, these are the questions possible from assurance engagement. Right. So just focus on this. That's enough. No need to look at anything else. Shall I tell you? 100% theory is covered. So entire chapter is covered here. So what I am trying to tell you is, for last 20 years past paper analysis, how this topic is tested. That's what I am telling. These are the possibilities. All are theory areas, direct question, by heart and rewrite. The yellow color one, just practice. Is that clear? Yellow color one also I gave simple explanations. Most of the case studies are PFI or review engagement. PFI or review engagement. Is that clear? Is that clear? Don't spend time now over these topics. Huh? If the exam is tomorrow, today go and check these things. Right? Because now you should start practicing application things. Is that clear? Because why I am giving this limited scope at this point? Because you should not spend more time on these areas. If you don't know what can be tested, you're going to keep on study everything. Don't waste time. I save your time. Use that time to application questions. Use that time to do application questions. Understood? Now let's come to second one. Rules and regulation. Rules and regulations, the theory questions are. Rules and regulations, the theory questions are. Rights and duties of auditor. Rights and duties of auditor. Who cannot act as auditor. Application of ISA. Section A, you won't get questions from this. Shall I tell you, section A, what are the areas tested? Huh? So his question is like, okay, sir, you are telling 5% maximum. Is it section A or section B? No questions from this area for section A. If it is section A, it is not a theory question. It's a case study question. I'll give you section A, what are the topics possible, how it can be combined. There is a relationship for section A. I'll give that relationship if possible today. Okay. Section A, just keep as it is. Section A, I'll take it separate. Okay. Done? Now, internal audit. Internal audit. Internal audit. Under internal audit, internal audit assignments, mark it as important. Internal audit assignments. Internal audit assignments. Can you tell me what are the assignments performed under internal audit? Anyone? What are the assignments we performed under internal audit? Value for money, best value, effectiveness of control, forensic audit, compliance audit, management audit, mystery shopper review, IT audit. What is mystery shopper review? Very simple. Right. from another number, I'm calling management here and check whether they are giving proper information. All these assignments are internal auditors are doing. Right. So this is important question. No? Mark it important. Number 2, difference between internal and external audit. Difference between internal and external audit. Difference between internal and external audit. Sir, you told you are doing revision second week of May. Why late? No, actually, I think first your revision class is also cancelled, right? Or some Janse took, right? So once I came back from India, I got affected with some diseases problems, right? So health issues, right? So I took 2 weeks to recover, right? So still I'm not okay, but I can't keep on postpone, right? So that's the reason. Sorry. Third one. How to evaluate effective internal audit function. How to evaluate effective internal audit function. So this is a good question. Recent past paper, I think 2020-21, right? Some past paper questions found that how to evaluate a proper internal audit function, because internal auditors, like external auditors, qualifications are not required. For external auditor, qualification is required, but for internal auditors, qualification is not required. Therefore, when external auditor try to rely on internal auditors, the major concern is competency. Right. The skill set needed for external auditor is different. The skill set needed for internal auditor is different. Right. It does not mean that internal auditors are fools or external auditors are smart. It is not like that. External auditors are smart in standards. Internal auditors are smart in KOB, knowledge of the business. So their scope and ideologies and the practices are different. So how to evaluate the effectiveness means, I am an external auditor. I am going to use internal auditor's work. For that, I should see some of my skills are there or not. You got my point? I can't use that fellow to my work. Right. For example, let's say you are a chef, but you cook only vegetarian food. Right. I'm a non-vegetarian. Don't work. It does not mean you don't have skills. So, external auditor, how to evaluate effective internal audit function means how internal audit can support external audit. Number 1, those who don't know the answer for this. All other questions you might have answer. If you don't know what is the answer, let me know. I'll give a small introduction and answer structure. Right, just note it. First thing, students, qualification. Check. If internal auditors are qualified, if internal auditors are qualified, it's good. Chartered accountants. If internal auditors are chartered accountants, internal auditors are ACC accountants, that internal audit function is good, effective, and sufficiently resourced. If you look at internal audit department, if it is sufficiently resourced, it is effective. If internal auditors do not have enough resources, it's a problem. Third one, compliance with corporate governance. Compliance with corporate governance. If internal auditors are comply with corporate governance, it's good. Proper governance. Then internal auditors reports to whom? Audit committee. So reports to audit committee. And recommendations are get actioned. Recommendations are get actioned. Sometimes internal auditors recommendations are get actioned. So just copy this one. So here, recommendations are get actioned, which means, see, the recommendation is a corrective control. Keep that in your mind. That's why test of control deficiency and recommendation. That recommendation is given by whom? External auditor. ISA 260 and ISA 265 standard clearly said, when there is a control deficiency, provide recommendation to charge with governance. Most of that matters comes under key audit meta paragraph. Did you study key audit meta paragraph? ISA 705. Whatever the matters we communicated to charge with governance, we apply our judgment and select the matters and put into the key audit meta paragraph. Most of the items are ISA 260 and 265. Control deficiencies recommendations are provided by auditor. So external auditors recommendations get action. Likewise, internal auditors also provide recommendations. When internal auditors provide recommendation, whether that recommendations get actioned or not, it's matter. So when internal auditors are recommending to audit committee should take actions. Normally, if we report to audit committee, the recommendation get actioned. If internal auditors are reports to management, the recommendations are not get actioned. You got my point. For example, now I am starting class at 2 o'clock, but schedule time is 1:30. Salman sir is coming and telling, Fareen sir, you should start on time. Please start at 1:30. I said, okay. The next time also I am starting at 2 o'clock. Is the recommendation get actioned? This is a problem when you report to responsible person itself. You got my point. So when internal auditor reports to management, this problem comes. But if you report to audit committee, it won't. Is that clear? Understood? Yusuf understood? Then please focus on direct assistance as well. Mark it as important. Direct assistance. Mark it as important. Students, there is a technical article. Over internal audit, especially direct assistance. Please read. There is a technical article over direct assistance and internal audit portion. Please read. Don't look at whether AA or AAA. Read it. Content is same. Next one. Corporate governance. Corporate governance, students, theory questions. Purpose or benefits of corporate governance. Purpose or benefits of corporate governance. You should know what is the purpose. You should know what is the benefit. And there is an application question, important, right? I'll give that application question also because I'm not going to discuss. I hope you might study this type of question, right? But it's important. It is confirmed, relationship I'll tell you later, right? It is almost confirmed question, right? They will give you a scenario, can be tested in section A or section B. Corporate governance weaknesses. You should provide recommendation. They will give you a scenario and you need to identify corporate governance weaknesses and you should provide recommendation. Did you practice a question like this? Section A is also possible, section B is also possible. That is ethics. This is like audit committee composition issues. Right. One person is not financially expert. So what is the weaknesses? Right. Board is not diversified. Right. Executives and non-executives are not balanced. Annual re-election process. Every director should be re-elected annually. Right. So those kind of things are possible. Is that clear? Students understood? Maximum theory questions are this much. All other questions are theory, means it's standard. Maximum theory questions this much only. You should just prepare for this before your exam. All other questions are what? Standard questions. The last one is application. Yes, the last one is application. Okay. Now students, before I move to questions, I will explain section A first. Right. How many of you all want to do section A first in your exam? So I'll do section A first, then I'll do section B. You, section A first. Not yet. Don't take decision now. Too early. Too early. Audit paper is a magic paper, right? For all other papers, you can decide, okay, I'll do section A first, then I'll go to section B. Here, go there and decide, right? But I'll tell you how section A can be combined. That is, I can say that permutation and combinations, right? So there is a relationship. Examiner follows certain relationship when he prepare section A questions. I'll tell you those relationships. Then section A questions, you know, okay, this is how it's going to be tested. This is how it's going to be tested. Okay. Right. Now heading right down, section A.
So no theory, like letter chapters. 0%.
Section A.
No, I mean.
Theories are there. Most of the theories are standard based theory. Not this theory.
These kind of theories, the letter chapters.
For example, audit planning, standard theory. Audit evidence, standard theory. Internal control, standard theory. Exactly. And completion, standard. All are standard theories. Audit paper, out of theory, let's keep application aside, out of theory, 90% is standard theory. Not these theory questions. These theory questions, you no need to attend the lectures also. You can just by heart and rewrite. Is that clear? Right. Section A students, I'll give you the combinations now. How examiner can combine. Okay. Combination 1. There are a lot of combinations are there. Try to practice these type of combination questions. If you can't find, drop me a text, I'll share a question to you. Okay. Normally you might practice these questions. Right. But this is how it can be combined. So what I am trying to make here is, rather than teaching a new thing to you all, try to simplify the thing. You know audit risk is confirmed, right? Section B question. So you prepare. When you see, you feel happy. You can write. Likewise, I'm trying to make section A. Section A, this is how examiner can combine things. Then prepare in that way, practice in that way. Right. The common section A area is ethics. It can be ethical issues. It can be ethical risk or ethical threats. Code of ethics, ISA 210. ISA 210 is, what is ISA 210? What is ISA 210? Is that 210? Is that 210? Section A questions I'll do. Section A questions I'll do. Is that 210? Acceptance consideration. Before you accept an audit, what sort of factors we should consider? That is definitely tested along with this. Plus conflict of interest. Conflict of interest. So this is the first combination of section A. Definitely you will get one question from this. Definitely you will get one question from this. Okay. What is ethical issue and what is ethical threat? What is ethical issue and what is ethical threats? Same? Different. What is the different? What is the different? You didn't practice ethical issues question or ethical risk question. Now, students, it's like this. If the verb is ethical risk or ethical issue, or if the verb is ethical threat, the meaning is not same. The meaning is not same. Try to understand that. It's like this, very simple. Ethics is what is right or wrong beyond legality. Is that clear? Ethics is right or wrong beyond legality. Within legality, right is right and wrong is wrong. Is that clear? If someone who is not following rules, can we treat that fellow as an ethical fellow when he moves beyond legality? No, right? Therefore, ethical threats means the scenario focus beyond legality only. The scenario focus beyond legality only. You got my point what I'm saying? That means I'm following rules. Now my position is beyond legality. At this point, if I face some threat, how I'm going to react? So this case studies only includes case study only includes what? Threats. Case study only includes threat. It can be self-review threat, self-interest threat, familiarity threat, advocacy threat, all those threats, only threats included in the question scenario. Is that clear? If the question verb is ethical risk or ethical issue, that scenario include a problem where I am an auditor. Within legality also I have certain problems. Beyond legality also I have certain problems. You got my point? For example, if I am an auditor, I should follow rules. What is the rule? ISA. I should follow auditing standard. If I didn't follow auditing standard, am I ethical? It is clearly said wrong, but I am not following. You got my point? So, when the verb is ethical issue, it includes again threats. It's include non-compliance of ISA. It's include non-compliance of what? ISA. And this case study includes non-compliance with code of ethics. Is that clear? Therefore, if the question verb is ethical threat, the case study only include threat. Right? Just look at the threats from the case study. If the question verb is ethical risk or ethical issue, the case study include threat, non-compliance of standard, non-compliance of code of ethics. For example, I am an auditor. I am not maintaining confidentiality. Code of ethics breach. It's an ethical issue. So if I take the verbs pute, ethical issue is bigger than ethical threat. I'll become more specific to you all now. See here. Now a student is asking a question, sir, do we need to by heart all the standards to do ethical issue question? No need. I'll tell you. Only two standards. One is ISA 210 and two is ISA 220. Which means for last 20 years past papers, 3 times ethical issue questions are tested. How many times? 3 times. All 3 times, the non-compliance with the ISA 210, that is acceptance consideration, ISA 220, that is quality control. These 2 standards only tested. These 2 standards only tested. For example, you didn't practice ethical issue question? I'll give you a small case to explain. See here. What is your name? Your name?
Sihan.
Your name?
Aslan.
Okay. A works as an auditor. He works as an auditor. In the scenario they are telling, fails to contact previous auditor when they accept new engagement. Audit firm is accepting a new engagement. Yes or no? When we accept a new engagement, auditor fails to contact previous auditor. What is the issue here? They are asking ethical issue. It is not a threat. Is there any self-interest threat here? Is there any advocacy threat here? Is there any familiarity threat here? No. What is here? Non-compliance with ISA 210. Non-compliance with ISA 210. ISA 210 standard said, before you accept a new audit engagement, please concentrate on several factors. Factor number 1, integrity of the management, fee, and integrity of the management, fee, resources, precondition, professional clearance, money laundering, all these are matter. This is professional clearance. What is professional clearance? The previous auditor legitimately removed or legitimately resigned from the audit. Yes or no? Yes or no? So it's ISA 210. Auditor, I fails to comply with ISA 210. It's an ethical issue. It's an ethical issue. Is that clear? Is that clear? So if you want to practice question from ethical issues, June 2013 past paper, question number, section B, question number 2. Right. So June 2013 past paper, you can practice ethical issue question. Right. If you want, I can share in the group down. Right. Copy this. So section A questions, when you are doing section B also, this question can be tested. If you get a question from section A, one combination is ethical issue, ethical threat. So don't get confused. If the verb is ethical issue, try to focus on the standard non-compliance also. Try to focus on non-compliance of code of ethics also. Yes or no? Yes or no? So if I am not there, who will take audit? If Zian is not there, who is take audit? If we both are not there, who is going to take it? Nobody. That's what I'm telling. If I'm asking, okay, Sir Hazan sir, you come and take audit. If he said, okay, I'll take, it is wrong. You know why? It's an ethical issue. Why it's an ethical issue? If Hazan sir thinks, okay, if I take money, good, right, but I don't have competency to teach that subject. Yes or no? Because he didn't teach audit before. That is we call code of ethics, professional competency and due care. I should not do the same thing for tax also. I should not do the same things for tax also. Code of ethics, what is that? Professional competency and due care. What it mean, professional competence and due care? If you are competent, duty of care is very high. Yes sir. Yes sir. If I am competent, level of confidence is increasing or decreasing. That is duty of care. If I am not competent, level of confidence will increase or decrease. Decrease. That is against duty of care. That is against duty of care. So those type of problems can be tested in the ethical issue words. So before you do a question, look at the verb, whether it is ethical issue or whether it is ethical threat. Is that clear? First combination understood? Understood? Mark it as important. 100% confirm you will get this combination question in section A or section B. Either section A or section B. 100% confirm. one full day, one full marathon, I'll take only MCQs, section A. Right? Because Tavish, not today. Right? Complete MCQs I'll take. Is that clear? First combination? Understood? Right. Shall I move to second one? MCQ combination 2. MCQ combination 2. Copied? You need time? Finish it off. Any areas that I want to focus on? All good. Not enough. You need more. You? Sita. Areas. Procedures.
Find yearly and standards.
The standards are given list of questions. Right, okay, fix them. Tomorrow's session, I will discuss substantive procedure questions, right? And I will discuss audit reporting questions, right? Deficiency, I'll see. All are big areas. Deficiencies focus on inventory and sales, one combination. Payroll and purchase, another combination. How many of you all feel comfortable with test of control? Control deficiency and recommendation is easy. Right? Test of control only matters. I'll teach you that portion, no? Because how many of you all have a gray area, a doubt, how to write test of control? No? You all have, right? I'll teach you that. Right. Second combination is this. Corporate governance, rules and regulations, internal audit. This is the combination. All this together. Corporate governance, rules and regulations, and internal audit together, they can combine. If you look at, all are interconnected. What is the connectivity? Corporate governance is also regulation. When corporate governance is effective, internal audit function is effective. So this combination is possible. Especially in this combination, I'll give you some question verbs in section A. Governance weaknesses. Governance weaknesses. ISAs, International Standards on Auditing, right? Internal audit assignments related. But I'll tell you one thing. If you get ethics, you won't get this much. Right. Number 1 and number 2, both combination will not be tested in the same paper. Will not be tested in the same paper. Shall I tell you the reason? Because examiner want to diversify it as much as possible. Normally, if you take MCQs, how many MCQs you will get? You know how examiner is taking MCQs? You didn't do those research and all? How many of you all read examiner's report? Examiner clearly said, I want to test the entire syllabus in section A also. So when I do last Saturday session, right, I divide your entire syllabus into 3 stages. External audit, planning stage, Planning stage and performance stage and reporting stage. MCQs, 3 scenarios. Each scenario, 5 MCQs. Total 15 MCQs. 1 from the planning, it is confirmed. 1 from the performance, it is confirmed. 1 from the reporting, it is confirmed. That's the one. Both combinations are comes under plan. Both combinations are comes under plan. Is that clear? Combination number 3. When you do questions, try to find out questions in this combinations and do, because the problem in section A is if you don't know the combinations, you skip certain combinations. Then especially a very, very difficult combination is there, right? You can't find questions much, right? Procedures and evidence. Substantive procedure not only tested in section B, section A it is tested. Substantive procedures and evidence tested in section A means it's a disaster. Sometimes you might think substantive procedure is difficult. For section B, somehow you can write something. Section A, solid knowledge is required to pick up the point. You got my point? So, especially when I do section A, I'll focus on that combination more. Right. So, third combination is audit planning. Lamai, under audit planning, what sort of things you studied? Riska, under audit planning, what sort of things you studied? Overall strategy, audit plan, right? The components of overall audit strategy document, the components are 4 components. The first one is significant matters to be considered, characteristics of the engagement, communications, and the nature of extent scope of the engagement. These are the 4 characteristics of what? Overall audit strategy. Then audit plan. Audit plan means how to execute audit strategy document, what to perform, when to perform, who to perform, to what extent to perform. All these details are clearly communicated in audit program. That is the first part of audit planning. The second part is ISA 330 interim audit and final audit. What is interim audit? What is final audit? What are the procedures performed under interim audit? What are the procedures performed under final audit? How interim audit support final audit? That's we studied, right? After that, in the audit planning, ISA 240. ISA 240 speaks about fraud. What is fraud? What is error? Standard clearly defined the word fraud. What is fraud? Misappropriation of asset and manipulating financial statements, and auditor's responsibility and management responsibility. How management achieve their responsibility? How auditor achieve their responsibility? How management achieve their responsibility? Management is primarily responsible for fraud, yes or no? How management achieve their responsibility? Management standards. Name. Nitish. Vegetarian or non-vegetarian? Vegetarian? Non-veg. All non-veg. Okay. Will you eat pork? No. I'll give you 1 million. Will you eat pork? I got the answer. Good, huh? Simple. Certain controls implemented through culture is very strong. Culture is a very strong environment. How management achieve their responsibility? By developing internal controls and the culture. Pork is wrong, no? Fraud is also wrong. If you are telling pork is wrong, I will never eat pork. When it comes to fraud, you should say the same. Who should feed that? Management. How management achieve the responsibility? By developing internal controls, by developing a culture. That culture said fraud is wrong. That culture said fraud is that clear? Standard said. Right. And procedures. Fraud procedure. Procedures over suspected fraud. If the fraud is identified, what is the procedure? Right. And Akifa, I'll do that question tomorrow when I do audit reporting. Don't worry. Right. Yeah, I didn't discuss that question. I'll discuss that question. Yes, reporting I'll discuss. It's there. I'll discuss tomorrow. Right. So audit procedures over identified fraud. Audit procedures over suspected fraud. If fraud is suspected, what is the procedure you should follow? If the fraud is identified, what is the procedures you should follow? Finally, report fraud. If the fraud is identified, how to report? What is the process? Inform to management. If management is also informed, inform to charge with governance. If charge with governance is also involved, inform to shareholders. Modify the report. Public interest, disclose to third party. Problem solved. Right. After, next one, audit planning. What is the standard? ISA 250, compliance. What is direct law? What is indirect law? What is compliance? Audit manager's responsibility, auditor's responsibility, procedures over compliance, indication of non-compliances, how to report non-compliance. That's all. After that, audit planning, ISA 230 documentation, purpose of documentation, benefits of documentation, current audit, current file and permanent file, working paper, components of working paper, custody of that working paper, how long you should keep the working paper, who ownership belongs to whom. Documentation done. All these things comes under what? Audit plan. All these things comes under what? Audit plan. Right. Then, audit risk. Important area. Important area. Did you study audit risk? What is audit risk? Auditor providing inappropriate opinion. Why? Because of audit risk. Audit risk is providing inappropriate opinion to the clients. The reasons are two reasons. One is client side reason, the other one is auditor side reason. Client side reason we call risk of material misstatement. Risk of material misstatement comes due to direct inherent risk and control risk. Inherent risk is the risk arise in the first instance before testing related controls. It's due to a complication nature or complication standard. Standard become complicated because of non-compliance with the accounting standard or possible non-compliance with the accounting standard or non-compliance with the assertion. The assertion can be income statement assertion non-compliance or balance sheet assertion non-compliance. So in your case study, most of the audit risk is inherent risk. It can be a standard complication. Standard complications are two types. One is confirmed misstatement or possible mistake. You got my point? Second one is assertion complication. If you look at 2022-23 past papers, revenue related issue, cut-off problems are given. Valuation problems are given. Completeness, provision understated, completeness problems are given. So, audit risk, inherent risk, most of the time, transaction complication. Transaction complications, either assertion complication or standard complication. So in the section A also, audit risk can be tested most of the time, either standard complications or assertion complication. Both are comes under inherent risk. Both are comes under inherent risk. Then control risk. Why examiner do not check much control risk? If you look at the case study, maximum one. Why? Obviously, it is tested in another question, deficiencies. So examiner won't test. Be prepared for inherent risk. Be prepared for inherent risk. Is that clear? These two combinations definitely tested. Especially response, you should focus. If examiner tests audit risk, most of the questions are response. Most of the questions are response. Is that clear? Combination for good combination. If you get this combination, pass rates will reduce. The fourth combinations. So what about detection risk? Section A, no. Chances are very less. Yeah. Combination 4. Yeah, I'm talking about section A, not section B. Section B I'll discuss later. Combination number 4. Combination number 4, students. Audit evidence. Did you study audit? Did you study audit evidence? Studied. Studied. ISA 500, audit evidence, sufficient and appropriate evidence. Yes or no? Sufficiency means quantifiable. It's a matter of auditor's judgment. The level of sufficiency influenced by several factors. If the risk is high, more evidence. Risk is low, less evidence. Reliability is high, more evidence. Reliability low means less evidence. If the number of control deficiencies happen, more evidence. Control deficiencies means less evidence. Material, more evidence. Immaterial, less evidence. So it's a matter of auditor's judgment. And appropriateness, relevant and reliable. What is relevant? That evidence need to meet the assertion, objective of the audit. For example, rights and obligation is an assertion. Yes or no? Motor vehicle rights and obligation, how to verify? The evidence is registration book. Because the evidence should be correlated to assertion. Then only it's relevant. Can I confirm rights and obligation by inspecting parking slip? I can't, because it is irrelevant evidence. So relevant evidence means it's related to what? Assertion. Reliable evidence, it should be original, it should be gathered by auditor. If you obtain from the third party, written evidence, subject to effective controls, all these evidence are reliable evidence. Did you study ISA 500? Is that clear? ISA 500 speaks about audit procedures also. ISA 500 speaks about assertions also, income statement, balance sheet assertion. ISA 500 speaks about sources of audit evidence also. ISA 500 speaks about how to select items for tested. So if it's a small population, test everything. If it's a large population, another standard comes in. That is ISA 530. ISA 530 speaks about sampling methods, random sampling, systematic sampling, hazard sampling, block sampling, monitor unit sampling. All these are sampling methods. Yes or no? So all these things are tested under evidence. All these things are tested under evidence. But try to understand how MCQs are connected with evidence. Always it is connected through substantive procedures. It connected to substantive procedures and it's connected to test of control. Always it is connected to substantive procedures and it is connected to test of control. Why I am telling it is connected to test of control and substantive procedures? How to gather audit evidence? Test of control and substantive procedure. So most of your questions, MCQs, it's focused on test of control, it's focused on substantive procedures. By that you gather audit evidence. By that you gather audit evidence. Try to understand how to differentiate substantive procedures and test of control. You can't differentiate by looking at the procedure because both have same procedure. Inspect, observation, observation. My question, how to differentiate test of control from substantive procedure? Important, no? Because MCQs, they will give four procedures, A, B, C, D. They ask you to identify substantive procedure. Balance are test of controls. What is the criteria you're going to apply to differentiate test of control and substantive procedure? Some procedures may be risk response. That is not substantive procedure. That is planning procedure. So my question, how to differentiate these two? That knowledge is matter. This time I am expecting this combination. Solid. I'll share a few questions. It's very nice. How to differentiate today? First of all, you should check when we performed. Whether we performed at the control stage or whether we performed at the financial statement stage. Substantive procedures. Test of controls at the control stage. One way of testing is whether it comes through sales system or purchase system, then it can be both. You got my point? The second thing is check whether it's an assertion based or control objective based. Did you study controls? COSO model internal control, did you study? Test of control, under internal control, shall I start? Definition of internal control. Elements of internal control. Elements of internal control, the model we call COSO model, right? Under that, control environment, risk assessment, information processing, control activities, monitoring controls. Under control activities, spam soap. Did you study control activities, different types? Different types control activities, did you study? Control, you didn't study control activities? You didn't study control environment? Types you did? Control activities, make it very simple. Control activities put a spam soap. Write it down. Not Lux soap, spam soap. Because it is important, then only you can do test of control. If you don't know what are the controls, how are you going to test those controls? So control activities only we are going to test. What is spam soap? S. Who gave?
You.
When I gave? Okay. So first one is segregation of duty. Yes. Segregation of duty of a control. So if a procedure is testing segregation of duty, it is a test of control. You got my point? Second one is P. What is P? Passport. Physical control. See, CCTV is a physical control. Lock is a physical control. Maintenance is a physical control. A. Accounting control. Bank reconciliation statement. Non-current asset fixed register. TB. Trial balance. All these are accounting controls. Bank reconciliation statement, control account reconciliation statement, supply account reconciliation statement, reconciling individual ledger with the general ledger, and no, test of control. All the accounting controls. Next one, M. What is M? Monitoring controller. That is the final one. Management control. Management control. Lecture evaluation here, PPIM. Management control. Your attendance. Management control. So there are management control. Organization chart. Management control. Yes or no? If you go to a mall, right, the route map is a management control. Next one, S. What is next S? Supervision, supervision, supervision. O. Organization control. Organization control. Both are look like same. Organization control is bigger than management control because organization control includes strategic controls also. Simple. Cost leadership. Organization control. In which market you should go for cost leadership, which market you should go for diversification, which market you should go for synergy. All these are decisions are the controls you implement. Fine. Go and see Unilever. Their organization control is diversification. Go to Unilever, the organization control is diversification. Yes or no? Go to Coca-Cola, their organization is always what? There is no diversification. Same cola. If they diversify, they won't succeed. That's why zero cola fail. Next one. P. What is that P? Last P. A is authorization. Last P. No one knows. We don't have this. Ekatama problem. Sri Lankans, we don't have this. Protocol. Protection. We are in the class. Personal control. Example, give me an example for personal control. One is religion. One is religion. Spiritual. Two is education. Personal control. Three is ethics. Personal control. 3 is ethics, personal control. 4 is qualifications, ACCA, personal control. You got my point? Because, see, I can start class at any time. Not, it should be 1:30, but I should have a discipline because it's almost closer to exam. I should not waste your time. 1:30 means I should be here at 1. It's a personal control. It's a personal control. So while I am teaching, I should not discuss irrelevant stories in the class. Now, during my class time, I can make you interact through that. Now, I should not waste. Why? It's a personal control. See, when I communicate, I never communicate things outside of the topic. You know why? That is a control that we should maintain. Yes or no? Personal control comes through ethics. Therefore, when management is unethical, it's a control failure. Control environment is not weak because lack of personal control. Connections understood, right? So try to focus on this. If any one of these are tested, it is test of control. If there is an assertion satisfied, that is substantive procedure. That is substantive procedure. Understood? Understood? Now shall I tell you one example? Select a sample of sales invoice. Check whether it is sequentially prepared. because it's an accounting control. You got my point? Select a sample of purchase invoice and check whether it is authorized or not. Test of control. Authorization. Select a sample of order placed, agree to purchase invoice to confirm completeness. Substantive procedures. Is that clear? Now you all understood? Simple. Mark this combination as important. Combination number 5. Combination number 5. Combination number 5. Combination number 5. This combination, students, seriously I'm telling, you should not get. Right? If you get, you should be extra careful. Right? Substantive procedures and ISA 505. ISA 505 is what? Don't know, right? I'll tell you the name. Confirmation. Positive, negative circularization, comma, assertions. Yeah, it looks like word book. There is a question in the MCQ area. I'll do this question. There is an MCQ. I'll do this question. Fine. There are different types of circularizations provided to you. A list of circularization. Confirmation you got from the customers. Negative balance, positive balance, nil balance, all those data are given. Then they ask questions. You got my point? That is circularization related procedure questions. Circularization related procedure questions. Right? Try to focus on ISA 505. There is a technical article. Positive, negative circularization. Read it. Huh? Right. You studied, right? Circularization. What is positive circularization? Positive response. Students, can you hear me? Indians, can you hear me? Sri Lanka, you can hear me. Lankan English. Can't hear, sir. Lakshajani Jayasilan, can you check your mic? Speaker, sorry. Put a question, combination number 6. Combination number 6. ISA 560. I'll write. Subsequent events. Did you study subsequent events? Huh? Active duty, passive duty, the auditors. So can you repeat combination 5? Combination 5 is, I'll do one question, right? When I do MCQ, substantive procedures and circularization. Examiner will give you sample circularization. Some might be positive circularization, some might be negative circularization. With assertion, they test substantive procedure. So they are the substantive procedures, because confirmation is one procedure, you know, right? So primarily, the substantive procedure questions are developed based on confirmation. There are MCQs like that. Bashir understood. So ISA 560 subsequent events, ISA 570 going concern, ISA 580 written representation, comma, opinion, reporting. These two areas are related to reporting. These three areas are related to completion. Especially students, in the reporting part, what I said here, it is paragraphs. It is paragraphs. What are the paragraphs you studied? Audit reporting paragraphs. Key audit meta paragraph, other meta paragraph, emphasizes of meta paragraph, going concern meta paragraph, other information. Studied, right? Paragraphs matter. I'll tell you one thing. Emphasizes of meta paragraph, other meta paragraph, key audit meta paragraph. There are technical articles. Please read. Very, very, very important. Very, very, very important. How many combinations? Definitely one of 3 combinations from this will be tested too. Out of these 6, 3 combinations will be definitely tested. Is that clear? Section A understood? Shall I tell you? Focus more on this. More means it's 100% sure you won't practice any MCQs on this part. Yes. Kaplan kit hai. Because you should familiarize yourself with the questions. Otherwise, if you get an external shock when you see a new question, you got my point? That will deteriorate your performance. Okay. Section A understood? No? Right. Let's take a break. What break? 3-5. Take a break.
For audit and assurance, is Kaplan questions more important or study hub?
Kaplan. Study hub is like study hub also same only, but Kaplan questions are very structured answers. Study hub answers are I can understand, but I don't know to what extent a student can understand.
Because like in the last exam, the day before, I did a few questions of study with the exact same question was behind the study.
But audit questions are almost same only. Even you practice study hub or Kaplan or whatever, audit paper is one of the paper where the format is predetermined. This is the only paper before exams you know what question is going to be tested.
But why didn't we change?
2 reasons. Why students fail? When they know the question. They know this is the question. This is how I should write answer. But they fail. 2 reasons. Shall I explain why? Right. Practically a small role player. Okay. Let's say company X. Construction company. Okay. Industry is very competitive. Industry is very competitive. I did this question yesterday. Selling price is increasing. Did I discuss with you all now, right? It's a construction company. They reduce house prices, increase marketing. What is audit risk? Company is construction company. Market is very competitive. They reduce home prices, increase marketing. What is the audit risk?
The complex.
That is business risk. You come to advanced audit and assurance, I'll teach. Good. Rifki, smart. Discuss, right? You can argue this in the view of IAS to NRV cost, estimated selling price minus estimated selling cost. You should argue this with an assertion of valuation.
Cost maybe higher.
Now you understood. Question is same. Professional judgment is different. The reasons for the failure, the reasons for the lowest pass rate, 1, professional judgment gap. 2 is professional skepticism gap. You all right answer, but that is not the right answer. You got my point? Because your judgment is weak. Your skepticism mindset is weak. So always I'm telling in my class, a lecturer's role not to teach audit. Try to communicate this judgment and skepticism mindset. That exercise we should do. Right. So that's the reason that gap is there. Questions are same.
It's sure there's going to change.
Simple. Right. That's why it's very difficult to teach this subject also. If one student come and ask one doubt, right? If you don't have a complete knowledge, you can't give a solid reply. Because questions are same, case studies are different. To understand the case, it's matter. To understand the case, it's matter. Right. Another example, simply I'll tell you. Right. Fee dependency, what is the threat? Two different answers. Actually, immediately self-interest threat, subsequently self-intimidation threat. Order matters. If you write intimidation, answer is wrong. Because in MCQ, answer 1 is self-interest, answer 2 is intimidation. So threat when you are studying, you should study initial threat is what, subsequent threat is what. Right. Father and son, what is the threat? Initial, immediately familiarity, then self-interest, subsequently self-interest, then intimidation. Possible. The order matters. Therefore, when you are studying, study with that rationale. Try to develop your skepticism mindset. By always, I'm asking you to practice question, not to copy case study, but to develop your judgments. You got your answer? I'll take another 10 minutes time. Sorry. I'll take another 10 minutes time to discuss test of control portions to you. Small test of control part. Right. Then immediately I'll go to the question. Right. Okay, fine. Already I gave Saturday that flowchart, that is test of control flowchart. Right. So try to prepare questions like this. I'll give you one example, small example. Right. How many of you didn't attend Saturday's class? Huh? That's why you asked substantive procedures. No. Can you get the recordings? Recordings.
On the is on YouTube.
YouTube selected only, I'll give. Okay, I'll explain this one. Sales invoice is not sequentially numbered. So this is a story. Now students, when you are writing answers, let's say first one is deficiency. Second one is recommendation. Third one is test of control. Practice questions in this format, right? Better to practice sales system, purchase system, payroll system and inventory system. Okay, see here, I'll tell you, deficiencies, always you should write the impact to organization as well. Don't forget to write how it's going to affect organization. Audit risk, how it's going to affect financial statements. So here if I take the deficiency, first I'll take the issue which is sales invoice is not sequentially numbered. Is that clear? So sequential number is a management control, or else you can say accounting control. As a result of that, what is the problem?
Delays, misorders.
You cannot find out any missing orders. You cannot find out any missing orders. Good. Shall I add one more point now? Because you know how to write answer, right? So if there is any invoice missed, it's very difficult to find out. Is that clear? Technically, you are telling this will create completeness issue. Technically, you are telling this will create what issue? Completeness issue. This completeness going to be affected in two areas. One is if it is sales and receivables. Therefore, when you are performing substantive procedure, it's mandatory to test completeness of receivables and sales. Is that clear?
Yes. The same, sir. The same question.
That's what. Yes, that's what I'm trying to tell you here. See, concentrate. I always told you, controls are effective means indirectly you are satisfying assertion. Complying with standard means indirectly you are satisfying assertion. If you have a fracture in your hand, what do you do? Take X-ray. X-ray. You should take X-ray, no? To verify that disease, you need a base. X-ray is the base. Assertion is that base to verify the misstatement. Clear? So, now you understood. Deficiency matter because deficiency create assertion issues. Okay. That's why if the deficiencies are high, we perform more substantive procedures. The deficiencies are high, we perform more substantive procedures. Is that clear? Now students, concentrate.
So like this is the same case study, like the same deficiency, they like make us try for internal controls and then for substantive procedures.
Part 1, section B, first question. Let's assume they ask deficiency, recommendation and test of control. There are a lot of deficiencies they discuss. Part B, substantive procedures. As a result of that deficiency, what area get be affected? That is a substantive. That's how your section. Exactly. But that is a separate part. For example, here, if I am an examiner, I will ask part B, substantive procedures over receivables. Yes or no? Now connection understood. Don't just by heart. If you practice and by heart, it won't work. Try to understand the logical connection. Recommendation means, I'll tell you, when control is deficient, control activity fails to meet control objective. Control activity fails to meet control objective. Is that clear? That is we call insufficient control. That control is not enough to meet the objective. That control is not enough to meet the objective. You should provide a recommendation. Recommendation is a effective control. You are writing recommendation, right? Technically, you are writing what? Effective controls. So, your recommendation is always spam zone. Your recommendation is what? You are recommending a control to resolve the issue. So, recommendation is not procedure. Recommendation is what? A control. Recommendation is not a procedure. Recommendation is what? A control. Is that clear? Here, invoice is not sequentially prepared. Yes or no? That is a deficiency. What is the control? Invoice should be sequentially prepared. It's a control. It's a control. Therefore, when you are writing recommendation, write down controls. Is that clear? Now I'll come to test of control. Most of the students, they search test of control in the scenario. Don't search. Why? After test of control only deficiency identified. Yes or no? After test of control only deficiency identified. Yes or no? Already I gave deficiency, which means test of control already performed. Then why they ask you to perform again? Confusion, right? Already they said, see, it's not sequentially numbered, which means test of control is already performed. But they ask again test of control, meaning they ask to test the control that you suggest. You suggest a control in the recommendation. How are you going to test that control? That is the question. Therefore, you said it should be sequentially numbered. Then for that, what is the test of control? What is the test of control? Let's take a sample and perform sequence check. It's a computer assisted audit technique. You got my point? So always test of control is you are writing controls, how to test your recommendation. Test of control means how you going to verify your recommendation. That is a question. Is that clear? Understood? And this is comes under ISA 206. Sorry, this is comes under ISA 265. This goes to key audit meta paragraph. ISA 265 clearly said communicated to charge with governance. Deficiency should be communicated to charge with governance. That matters only are including under key audit meta paragraphs. Understood? Clear? Now you understood how to approach this. Is it clear? Okay, now let's quickly move to ethics.
If you have a substantive procedure for this. Substantive procedure for this. Just examples.
Saturday I explained everything. There are six types of substantive procedures will be tested in your exam. How to think, how to write, everything I explained. Right? It's about 4-hour session. If you watch that 4 hours, you can do all substantive procedures. Right? So talk to Zian sir. It's busy. I'll check. You wrote everything, right? He have. Get up. Don't worry hard. Sir, possible to give questions. I'll do, don't worry. Tomorrow, substantive procedure question and reporting questions, I'll do, right? Then, day after, not day after, Thursday, Wednesday, I will not. Right? Thursday, I'll do MCQs, complete MCQs, right? That's all. So, how you remember everything? Good.
So 15 years, right?
This is 6 months you are studying, right? 1 month. I'm talking this for last 15 years. Have to remember.
Nothing changes, right?
Huh? Case studies are changes. There are a few changes, but yes. Fine. So what do you suggest? Start from section B or section A? For me, whatever is fine. Fine. For you, I don't know. Because your brain, you knows. You got my point. I can't recommend. If I am doing a paper, I will do anything and everything. It's not a problem. Section A also problem, no problem. Section B also no problem. You feel, you see and feel, right? See, it is comfortable, right? Sometimes you are comfortable with ethics. Section A consists ethics, then do it. You are not comfortable with procedures, then don't do. Leave it and go to section B. Right? Try to identify your comfort zone and do. Fine. Out of 12 chapters, what is your favorite topic? Not examiner, but you? You don't know what are the 12 topics, right? Assurance engagement, rules and regulation, code of ethics, and internal audit, corporate governance, audit planning, audit risk, evidence, completion, reporting, and that's all. Corporate governance. Reporting. So try to pick up your favorite area, then do it. Okay.
Sorry, putting on the 5 marks question. It should be remembered this.
I'll tell you tomorrow. I'll tell you. For reporting also, there are 3 combinations possible. You did only implication report. Implication to audit report. I'll do no. Don't worry. How many hours to take for section B until you score full marks? Right. 1.8 minutes for 1 mark. Do it. 1.8 minutes for 1 mark, which means 10 marks question, finish it off within 18 minutes. I'll tell you, shall I tell you one thing? In audit paper, students, if you are thinking too much to write answer, your competency is low. You couldn't find out, you couldn't finish your paper soon. Very difficult. Time problem will be there. If you are really smart, that means judgment and skepticism and competency level is very high. Planning time is less. You can easily write. Okay. How old are you? 17.
19.
In the age of 18, if you can't remember, see, 35, the oldest fellow, right? So if I can remember, why you can't? Really? How many topics in law paper? How many topics? Did you study law? FR? What is IS 38? What is the development criteria? Development cost can be capitalized under certain criteria are satisfied. What are the criteria?
If it's meeting the criteria,
That's what I'm asking. What are the criteria?
Extra revenue.
Shall I tell you one thing, students? Most of the time when I observe you guys, you feel very overconfident, but you know, you all are what? You know, right? Consolidation, group structure, line by line addition method, net assets of subsidiary at acquisition date and reporting date, goodwill on acquisition, NCI, group retained earnings, then post acquisition profit, then problem solved. 9. Why we calculate goodwill? You don't know. Shall I tell you one thing? Why audit paper is more difficult for you all? You all are here. You all are not here. Accounting is a practical paper. FR is a practical paper. But no one is studying it practically. But how to calculate NRV? Practically think, if you all are become accountants, audit risk of material misstatement. You understood what I'm telling? So what you are studying here, you need to put this knowledge into a workplace. Fine. Actually, it is not just selling price and selling expense. It is estimated selling price minus estimate. It's an estimated figure. For that, you need to find out 1 divided by 1 plus r to the power n. This is we call discount factor, present value of 1 rupee. So if you are working as an accountant, when you are going to when you're going to prepare NRV, this finance knowledge is required. It's an estimated price. Estimated price regression analysis matter. Y is equals to A plus BX. Management accounting. Trend analysis, cyclical variance, seasonal variance, random variance. That's the best fitted line. After that only you can estimate the selling price. Estimated selling price කියලා කියන්නේ පොතේ තියෙන selling price නෙමෙයි. The practically you should apply all these theories to get the value. Huh? Can you tell like this while you are working as an accountant? No. In the Kaplan study text, they gave estimated selling price. If here you should give, otherwise I can't prepare financial. Can you tell like that? Now you all understood where you are, what is the practical, the gap between your knowledge and the application. If you are really Y type, you like audit paper. Like depends on the results. So try to develop that. Important. So ethics question, as I told you earlier, ethical issues can be tested, ethical risk can be tested, theory questions can be tested. Try to prepare for. Okay. Now students, let's move to this question. Did you practice carving and company question? Right. Quickly, I will not give an answer to you all to dictate and all. Right. I'll quickly discuss and do. You are the audit supervisor of carving and company. You are planning the audit. Definitely you will get ethics question. But I don't know whether it is ethical threat or ethical issues or risk. You are the audit supervisor carving and company and planning the audit of H. It's a listed company matter because listed company treatment is different for unlisted company. Right. Engagement quality control review is mandatory for listed company. Key audit matter paragraph is mandatory for listed company. For listed company, certain services are prohibited. Tax service, certain services are prohibited for listed company. Financial statement preparation, prohibited for listed company. You got my point? So that ethical threats, listed, non-listed matters. Right.
Just saying it is not listed, then it's not given whether it's listed or not.
If it is not given, assume it is listed. But there was a question. They didn't mention it is listed or non-listed. Right. But they said it's an ethical question, no? Right. The company name they gave, and it's a banking institution. It's a banking institution. Right. But they didn't mention it is a listed company. Right. Now you are confusing. Listed or non-listed, but right. Rules and regulation, did you study? Under rules, Companies Act clearly said which entity require external audit, statutory audit. Number one, listed company requires statutory audit. Any entity which falls under finance industry require external audit, even though it is listed or non-listed. They said it's a banking institution. They no need to mention whether it is listed or not. Audit is mandatory. The rule is applicable to listed company. You should be smart enough to understand that first. In that case, if you come and ask, sir, they didn't give listing. Instead of that, they gave it's a banking institution. You understood it entirely. So topics are interconnected. Huh? We did this. So, is taxes prohibited for listed company? If you ask like that, how can I reply? Right. Tax services are different types of tax services. Right. It's a big case. Right. Tax return. Listed, non-listed. Both allowed. Tax return, both allowed. No problem. Tax computation. Non-listed allowed, but safeguard is separate team. Listed, not allowed, because it's create self-interest threat. How it creates self-interest threat? Because tax is a recurring service, it is material means for 5 consecutive years exceeding 15% threshold. For listed companies, it's create fee dependency. Fee dependency is what? Tax is a recurring service. There is a possible self-interest threat. Self-review threat. Yes or no? There is an advocacy threat. You need to represent your client. These 3 threats comes to listed company. First, second, third. Then when it comes to non-listed, it's create self-review. It's create self-review, but still you can mitigate well up, but you should use the separate teams. Third one, tax advice. Tax advice. Tax advice is create advocacy thread. First, because your tax advice, tax planning is an advocate role. You got my point? What is primary? Advocacy. Number two, self-review. Order changed, huh? Both are not self-review. First self-review, second advocacy. Here, advocacy is first. Right. Here, same. Allowed. Here it is prohibited. You got my point? Understood? Tax understood? Bashilji? That's all. Right. So here see, company's listed company year end March, the manufacturer computer component forecasted profit before tax is 33.6. Total assets 79.3. They gave this information not only for ethics, for audit risk also. That's why they gave PBT details. H company distribute its products through wholesalers as well as own website. The website was upgraded during the year 1.1 million. Right. Shall I make it audit risk also? Is that fine? Did you discuss this question? Huh? See here. The website is upgraded. Website is upgraded for 1.1 million. It's an expenditure. IAS 16 property plant and account standard said the expenditures can be classified into capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. If the earning capacity enhance capital expenditure, if the earning capacity maintain revenue expenditure. So they incur 1.1 million. I don't know how much portion capital expenditure, how much portion revenue expenditure. It's a classification problem. Classification is an assertion. It's an IAS 16 problem. Both you can explain. Is that clear? Understood? A company entered into transaction in February, year end is March. The purchase new warehouse which cost 3.2 million. Legal advisors are legal process to be completed at the year end. IAS 16 property plant and equipment standard clearly said entity should recognize initially asset at cost. Subsequently cost or revaluation model. When you are recognizing cost, the cost include purchase price of the asset, the asset incurred, the cost incurred to bring the asset to present condition and make it workable condition, and expected value of dismantling cost at the period end. Is that clear? Cost incurred to bring the asset, make it workable condition, include legal fee also. Include legal fee also. I am buying a car, but I didn't get the revenue license and number plate. Can I use that car? I can't. So when economic benefit started to derive, once the legal procedures are completed. If it is legal procedures not completed by the year end, asset is not exist. Existence is the assertion. For asset, existence is a assertion. Legal procedures are completed means asset exists. Then only you can recognize. Otherwise, non-compliance of IAS 16, existence get affected, assets overstated. You can't explain this as a cutoff issue, huh? Because cutoff income statement, this is existence. Is that clear? Income statement. This is non-current asset. Is that clear? The 5 billion irredeemable preference shares, IAS 1 standard. IAS 1 standard preparation and presentation of financial statement standards clearly said initially shares should be recognized at par value. Any changes to this par value should be recognized as share premium. Yes or no? Right. And preference shares are debt capital. Ordinary shares are equity capital. Preference shares, two types. Redeemable and irredeemable. Irredeemable preference shares, equity nature. Redeemable preference share, debt nature. Here also, classification and presentation issue. Classification and presentation issue. Sometimes you might recognize it as a debt capital and recognize as a non-current liability. It's a classification problem. It's a presentation problem because you can't recognize irredeemable share under non-current liability. You should recognize under equity. So it's a presentation issue. It's a presentation issue. Is that clear? So here this problem, IAS 1 and classification and presentation. Is that clear? During the year, finance director has increased useful life fixtures and fittings from 3 years to 4 years. IAS 16 property plant and equipment standard allowed to revise depreciation, allowed to revise useful life, allowed to revise depreciation rates. All these are estimate change. IAS 8 standard provide guideline. Changes to estimates are allowed, but prospectively. Policies are changed means retrospectively. It's an estimate change. Prospective change is required. Is that clear? Is that clear? But there should be a rationale to do that. There should be a rationale to do that. As a result of change in that estimate, the reliability of financial reporting should increase. You got my point? I am revising useful life of this AC because I change outdoor unit. Reliable reason, evidence is there for the revision. Without doing anything, I revised. Why? To increase the profit. If you look at this case study, the last line speaks about profit. So if you want to boost profit, if you do this, it's a manipulation. ISA 240 speaks about manipulation, fraud. ISA 240 clearly said, if you manipulated financial statement, it's a fraud. Is that clear? Finance director informed engagement partner that the revised credit period agreed with the customer. Revised credit period is a controlled risk. Credit risk. Post-year end cash receipt test to be performed. Receivables might be overstated. Is that clear? This is the first control risk. 1.2 million introduced a new bonus based on the sales target. Introducing a bonus based on the sales target, which will create cutoff issue. Right. If you write answer for this, like, okay, IFRS 16. So if you take this, as IFRS 15 revenue standard, it is not wrong. You can say revenue standard, you can explain here, but the major problem is cutoff issue. Why? If you give bonus for sales target, they will promote more sales, yes or no? Right. But they will go and tell for the customers, next year order also just place now. Later we can return. Later we can return to get the more bonus target. Cutoff problem. What is cutoff? Transaction should be recorded in the correct accounting period. Next year, first quarter sales recognized in the last quarter of the current year. So you should perform a cutoff test of this. So it's a cutoff problem in IFRS 15 revenue standard. Is that clear? This is resulted significant number of new wholesale customers. See, new wholesale customers. Because retail customer buy small quantity. Wholesale customers buy big quantity. Then only you can maximize your bonus. Professional skepticism. All these are what? Instead of finding 100 retail customers, they can find five wholesale customers. See, facts are there. You should extract out. So there is a possibility revenue overstated. Revenue recognized early stages. Is that clear? This has resulted, okay, these customers have given favorable credit terms and goods are 2 months period. As a result of that, revenue increased by 5%. See? Cutoff issue. Is that clear? The company launched several new products this year. Successful. Feedback on product L mixed, and the company has received notice from one of the customers. Legal action. IAS 37 provision contingent asset contingent liability standard. IAS 37 standard clearly said present obligation arise from the past event, economic benefit outflow is probable, cost is measurable. If these three conditions are satisfied, you should recognize provision. What is a double entry? Expense debit, provision credit. Provision account can be a current liability if that obligation settled within 12 months. If the provision is non-current liability, if the obligation is more than 12 months. So provision is required in this case. If they already made a provision, whether it is sufficient or not, I should check, because completeness is an assertion. If they didn't made a provision, then it's create an issue because liabilities are understated, profits are overstated. Is that clear? Yes. I'm talking about audit risk. No. I'm talking, that's why I told. I'm talking audit risk, then I'll come to ethics. Precaution, sales of the L product halted. Next one. Sales of the L is halted. What is the audit risk? IAS 2. You can mention, yes, standards you can mention, no assertion you can mention, no problem. IAS to inventory. When inventory is halted, when we recall the product, net realizable value becomes 0. See, when we recall the product design failure, mix failure, strawberry milkshake, 1 drop of poison mixed. Now I am telling, I'll recall the product, only 1 drop of poison, but give me half, discount is 75%. Will you buy? Scrap value is 0. Scrap value is 0. So there is a high chance net realizable value is lesser than cost, inventory is overstated. It's a valuation problem. It's a valuation problem. The finance director announced company's financial results to stock market earlier than manipulation. You should show favorable results to stock market, because if the entity earns profit, share price will increase. So intentionally, see, all what they did is to reduce the cost to increase the profit. Revenue increased by 5%, increase the profit. Inventory is recognized as cost, where NRV is low. So inventory write down is not required, increase profit. Extended useful life, depreciation reduced, increase profit. Yes or no? So all these things will, receivables overstated. What is the double entry for receivables? Sales and receivables. One side sales increase, profit. Favorable credit terms. Everything support what? Profit. To get the proper favorable results. If the company intending to propose final dividends, see here, IAS 10 events after reporting period. Interim dividends you can recognize. Did you study IAS 10 events after reporting period? Adjusting event, non-adjusting event? Adjusting event means what? A condition exists after the year end which confirm the original condition attached to the period. What is a non-adjusting event? The condition exists after the year end, right? Which says whether it's affect going concern or not. If it is affect going concern, it should be treated as adjusting event and financial statement should prepare breakup basis. If it is a non-adjusting event, you should see whether it is material or immaterial. If it is material, sufficient disclosure is required. If it is immaterial, just ignore. This is the standard of IAS 10. So, as per IAS 10, if there is a final dividend proposed, it is a non-adjusting event which is not affecting going concern. Therefore, you should see whether it is material or not. If it is material, sufficient disclosures are required. Therefore, adjustment is not required. But is required? Disclosure is required. But if you adjusted as interim dividend is an adjusting event. Final dividend is non-adjusting event. So here the problem is again classification and IAS 10. Final dividend can be treated as interim dividend, then problem. Misclassified. So always it's create a assertion complication and the standard complication together. Is that clear? Understood? The response is very simple. Review financial statement to see whether it is disclosed or not. You got my point? And those are the things understood. Explanations understood. Fine. Now students, let's go to this one. This part is what? Threats. H company's finance director informed audit engagement partner that one of the company's non-executive directors has resigned. He has inquired if the partners of CN company recruiting a new non-executive director. Specifically, he has requested engagement quality control reviewer. Did you study engagement quality control review? When there is a fee dependency, what is the safeguard? Inform to charge with governance. Then, if it is listed, non-listed company, you can reduce. If it is listed company, inform charge with governance and perform engagement quality control review. Right. What is engagement quality control review? It's like this. Let's say my name is Fareen. I am the engagement partner of the audit. Engagement partner of the audit. What is the organization? PPIM. Client is PPIM. Right? Zia, another partner. Same audit firm. Ramli, another partner in the same audit firm. Let's say Fatima. No, I'll give my wife name itself. This problem. Sajida, Ryan, then Rukmal. There are 4 different partners. Zian is engagement partner, Ramli tax partner, Sajida engagement partner, Rukmal HR partner. These are partners in the audit. Now, who did this audit? Actually, Fareen did this audit. Fareen is the engagement partner. Right. My work reviewed by another partner from this list. That person should have 2 characteristics. Characteristics number 1, independence. That person should be independent. Now, characteristic number 2, the condition. Who told all these things? International ethical standard. Right. The second condition is that person should be competent. That person should be competent. Right. So, if I take Zian, engagement partner. Zian is engagement partner. I am also engagement partner. So, he can replace me. Me and Zian, no relationships. Perfect. Ramli, tax partner. Competency issue. He knows tax, not engagement. Sajida is my wife. So, she is competent, engagement partner, but she is not independent. She is my wife. Rukmal, HR partner, not competent. So, who can review my work? Zian can review my work. Zian is the engagement quality control review. This assignment we call engagement quality control review. So, engagement quality control review means a review performed by a partner who is independent and competent, who not involved in that audit, reviewed engagement partners work. Reviewed engagement partners work. By that, the quality get improved. Yes. Rotation period is not 10, 5 years, 3 years. 3 years. That is chairman, right? Corporate governance, right? So quickly copy this. Now understood what is engagement quality control review? Yes. I'll teach you that. This is comes under ethics. It's also part of quality only. That comes under quality management. So partner rotation is needed only for PLCs. Yes. Abilities. Engagement partners, key partner, engagement partner, senior manager. Non-listed company, there is no such.
Why? It is so expensive. It's so expensive.
It is so expensive.
Teams and like a
Difference. Yes. How we select sample investment? And but EY and sample in this case. Small firm audit risk is very low. Engagement partner 5 year. Key audit partner 2 years. Engagement quality control reviewer 3 years. Right. He has requested engagement quality control reviewer who was till last year audit engagement partner. Till last year he is engagement partner. This year he is expecting what? Engagement quality control reviewer. Familiarity threat. Familiarity threat that you can't do that. And C company also provide taxation service. So taxation service will create self-review threat also. Self-interest threat also. Reason? It's a recurring assignment. You got my point? I didn't get it.
Like the audit firm is helping the company get recruit pennies.
No. No.
You can do that.
No. No.
You can basically do like no problem. Not ready at all.
Show that MCQ. That MCQ said advice. That MCQ said advice only. Advice anyone can give. Right, that's why that answer. Because you can't. Shall I tell you why? Auditors comes under audit committee. Yes or no? Audit committee includes 3 NEDs minimum. One should be financially expert. Normally, auditors' contact is financial experts only. So they ask us to recommend someone. That fellow definitely goes to audit committee. After that, audit committee only working on our independence, working on our remuneration and all. So it creates self-interest threat.
So how is that not an advocacy?
How it's become advocacy threat?
It is a
No, I'm asking why you are telling it is advocacy. That is assuming management responsibility. Is it advocacy threat? See here, normally advocacy threat arises when you represent and something with the third party, authorities. At that point, management responsibility only advocates. Lawyers, advocacy threat. Here it is not like that. It is assuming management responsibility. Actually, it's an ethical issue. And here see the finance director recommended audit committee this year audit fee based on profit before tax. Contingency fee. Did you study contingency fee? It is prohibited. Why contingency fee is prohibited? Shall I tell you one thing? It impaired independence. What is independence? Define. There is a technical article, professional skepticism, in ACCA website. Read the definition of independence. Tell me what is independence. No attachments. That independence is relationship independence. Right. If you switch off your phone, you are independent. Okay. Independence is free from appearance, free from mind. What is independence? Free from appearance and free from?
bias.
Exactly.
Free from bias and mindset.
So, what is free from mind? See, let's say, what is your name? Amri. 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 Why? Amri. Good. Good name. You know why? My son's name is also Amri. Right. See, let's take Amri. I can't use that example now. Now let's take A. A is in a relationship with someone. A is in a relationship with someone. Both are independent by appearance. Once you got engaged, till you get engaged, you are independent by appearance. But you are not independent by mind. One WhatsApp message is enough to disturb your mind. Appearance, it is independent. Me and my wife, appearance not independent. Mind also not independent. Either party can influence. You got my point? So independence as per the standard is clearly defined. It's free from mind, free from appearance. Is that clear? Read the technical article. There are questions possible in the technical article. Sometimes if they ask, define the term independence. Give examples. So, non-assurance services not significant and appropriate safeguard is allowed. Contingency fee. Akifa, it's like this. Non-assurance services which is not related to financial statement. For example, internal control developed India. internal controls, let's say something related to marketing or something related to internal control, which is not related to financial statements. Non-assurance, not related to financials, right? That is only allowed, huh? Right? Is that clear? All non-assurance services are not. It was a tax advice, correct? Right? If it is insignificant, then yes, right? But try to understand if anything is directly affect financial statements, right? It is not allowed. She studied very detailed, right? Contingency fee is allowed in certain cases. You don't know, right? Leave it, no need. They want us.
That like triple A.
Not triple A, double A. Yeah. If any non-assurance services, that is not significant and not affect directly by financial statements, contingency fee is allowed with safeguards. Maybe kind of reviews, social review, environmental reviews. Okay. Right, here see question number 2. It's a beach and company. Did you discuss this question? Beach and company allocated audit of Willow, a listed company. So it's a listed entity. Audit client for 8 years. Audit clients for 8 years. B was an audit engagement partner for Willow. She had completed 7 years of audit engagement partner. She recently rotated audit engagement. The current audit partner, Sandeep, has suggested maintain close relationship with Willow. B undertake the role of independent review partner. See, same stories are repeating again. Familiarity. And Willow requested B to attend audit committee meetings as a non-executive director who left. Self-review thread. Willow has asked Sandeep other to maintain recruiting new non-executive directors. Not allowed. Total fee for the last 16% of fee income. Fee dependency. Self-interest rate. You know what is fee dependency? Define.
The amount of the non-stored 15%. So another thing, you can recruit a NED. So responsibility politely, simply decline.
Shall I explain fee dependency?
Yeah.
See, my problem is we have level of confidence. With the level of confidence, right? Sir, let me explain. International Ethical Standard Board clearly defined what is fee dependency. For that, it gave 3 conditions. 1 condition, 2 consecutive years. Second condition, exceed 15% for PLC, 30% for non-PLC, 5 years for PLC, sorry, 2 years for PLC, 5 years for non-PLC. Exceed 50% of firm's total income. Firm's total income. Third one, this assignment, that work, it should be a recurring assignment. What is mean by recurring assignment? Every year it should recur. Forensic audit, fraud investigation, that is not non-recurring assignment. Only from external audit is a recurring assignment. Review is a recurring assignment. Tax is a recurring assignment. Every year it's happened. From that only you should calculate. If these three conditions are satisfied, that is called fee dependence. That is called fee dependency. Is that clear?
More than 2 years, 15%, there is problem.
So it's not 2 years of being experiment. So once every 2 years, it's fine.
2 years, more than 15% from recurring service, fee dependency is there. 1 year, 15%. Next year, 10%. No problem. No problem.
But can't you do it like this?
Do you think that you can able to reduce like that? This year 16%, next year less than 15%. Again, because shall I tell you why? Your thinking point is logically wrong. Huh? Right? Shall I tell you? If I am doing audit, I need last year working paper. That's why the third condition is recurring service. Without that, how are you going to do? You got my point?
Yeah.
Because to plan the audit, you need last year working papers.
But they can do it like this now, like the auditing firm is also in audit, like have a high fee this year, the low one next year. Like.
Shall I tell you one more thing? Spam, so last P is what? This is not a shopping peta. Audit firms are ethical organizations. Professional behavior matters. That's why most of the companies goes behind Big Four. Because their only ethical behavior is there.
1%.
Correct. Yeah. Thinking we need to be ethical, but other than understand. We're talking about. Fee dependency understood? Is it same? But you said similar. Okay, thank you. The current year's audit not yet confirmed, along with taxation and other possible non-audit fee, the fee will be greater than last year. Last year audit fee monthly, no payments have been made for the last 3 months. No payments made for last 3 months, outstanding fee. Outstanding fee is self-interested. How you feel? Questions? Understood? Outstanding fee? Outstanding fee, what is the safeguards?
Already
How fool we are? Man? See, outstanding fee means he is telling don't issue audit report. To issue audit report, you should plan the audit. You should perform the audit, which means 100% you did the work. Which means more than 100 hours you spend, partners hours, juniors hours, all work is done. Then you are telling, I will not keep the report. Right? What is the point, man? Right? Actually, International Ethical Standard Board is telling, don't do the work. Don't do the work. Don't give the issue audit report means we are fools. You got me? It's like I'm cooking for 100 people, there's no one to eat. What's the point of cooking? Is that clear? Mansilayo?
Before we go starting.
Yes.
That's the first step.
Clear? Shall I tell you the response? Outstanding fee. First, you should communicate to management and ask why such delay happens. Second, you should see the reason for that delay. You should see the reason for that delay. Third, you should agree with the payment plan. If it is possible. Okay, you are struggling, this reason. Okay, let's come to a payment plan. If they didn't agree to payment plan or if they didn't settle, don't do detailed work. What is detailed work? Planning work is not detailed work. That is based on the previous audit files. Performance, test of control, substantive procedures, stop. Don't do. Give the payment, then only I'll do. Not issuing audit report. Keep it, but the purpose. You spend your time. What you are telling is, I am teaching 100 hours audit. And the end of the day, you are telling, sir, we all pass. Already you pass audit paper. I am teaching 100 hours audit. What is the point? You got my point. Is that clear?
still enough. We just write 1 point there. Inform those charted accounts without writing the other 2 points.
No. You should write the third point only at least. Don't commence the detailed work until payment plan agree.
So 1 and 2.
That is also not it. Because that's how you apply your judgment. Which is material, you should take it first.
Just inform doesn't have a basis.
Is that clear? Understood. Now go this question. You told no independence. Try this question. Try this question quickly, quickly, quickly. Students, tomorrow reporting substantive procedures. Okay. Thursday, MCQs.
Right.
I don't have time. I need to do AAA also.
But you do MA as well, right? Management accounting.
Yes, MA, FA, FR, SBR, AAA, AA. You know? You know? This question due. What's up? Exploitation info. Development finance management. What is double A? Capital A in alphabet first letter? Yeah.
This one is not in that group. Double A March.
Maybe. Until early March full time. The best to chase
Over.
Oh, I really use
It was really
it.
easy voting. I want to get
Now the rest of my soap Neutron. Electron. Proton. Neutron. He asked if the audit could be completed in a shorter time scale. Intermediate.
Safeguard engagement partner should be changed. இது தெரிஞ்சு அதுக்கப்புறம் இது என்ன தெரியும் independency of mother premier self I will take accepted level she should be changed. Oh, it will be familiar. Even in case of anything, this is kind of hard. Hey, it's very nice. You want to better.
The engagement partner Hazard is a listed company. So plays approximately 6 years, and her son just accepted offer from the company as a sales manager. No problem. No problem. Nothing wrong. It's not a problem. No problem because sales manager. If he's a finance manager, only problem.
He was the financial
Engagement partner's son taking a leave. Because if he's a finance manager, and if my son is finance manager and I am an auditor, did you study rules and regulation subject? Under that, did you study rules? Under rules, did you study who can act as auditor, who cannot act as auditor? Under who cannot act as auditor, it is certain parties excluded by law, certain parties excluded by ethics. Under certain parties excluded by ethics, independence affected means you can't accept the audit.
So it's a problem.
No,
I'm telling you, if it's a finance manager.
Okay,
You got my pen, I'm partner, my client, my son is finance manager. So it has been 76 years and son accepted. Okay, this should be entitled him shares. That is problem. That is a problem because who appoint auditors? Who appoint auditors?
External audit is appointed by shareholder, internal audit is appointed by management. Board.
Did you study rules and regulation? Did you study rules? Under rules, did you study which entity require audit? After that, did you study who appoint auditors? Under that, did you study 3 parties can appoint auditors? First one, shareholders through AGM, directors, first auditor and to fill casual vacancy, and the secretary of the state. There are 3 parties can appoint auditor. Chapter number 2, Kaplan study text rules and regulation. Directors. Directors, there are certain conditions. One is first auditor and to fill casual vacancy. Then secretary of the state. Sri Lanka presidential secretary. Because auditor general department comes under presidential secretary. So it's a problem. It's a familiarity threat. What happened? Secretary of the state. Government.
Point auditors first.
Yes. Shall I tell you?
Yeah.
Example. You know Golden Key.
Yeah.
When Golden Key is bankrupted, Right. Liquidator should be appointed. Auditor need to be appointed. Right. A company is going to be bankrupt at that position. Do you think any audit firms will accept the audit? Who going to appoint auditor?
Would they for small businesses? They would.
Audit.
Through the legal proceeding, through the administrator. Did you study administrators, liquidation? Kaplan study text chapter number 22, law paper. You need to study, right? Liquidation and administration, insolvency, insolvency law. Clear? H company's directors are considering establishing an internal audit department. The finance director has asked audit firm difference between internal and that is not relevant. Question: explain ethical threat affect the independence. Here, internal audit department established and appointed internal as well as external auditors. Then Hazard has suggested the external audit fee should be renegotiated at least 20% based on the profit after tax. Two issues are explained here. One is Sun share. Two is audit fee, contingency fee. Is that clear? Right. So Sun appointed as shareholder. So that is affecting independence by appearance. By appearance.
I have to say by appearance.
See,
Safeguard will be not to take up.
not to take up. See here, there are three types of relationship matters under familiarity. You might study it. What is familiarity threat? Long association, bond, all these things. Three relationships. What are the three relationships? You all should cross these three relationships in your life. First one is by bond relationship. By bond relationship. That you can't avoid. Number two is by contract relationship. Husband and wife. Right. That you can avoid if you want. Right. Hopefully. Number three, by conduct. The relationship by conduct. That is your friends. These three relationships will create familiarity. These three relationships will create familiarity. You got my point? So normally, every individual, if you want to protect your independence, try to avoid and away from these three relationships when you are doing work. When you are doing work. You got my point? For example, I can teach to you guys, but I can't teach to Amreen. You understood what I'm telling? Because as a lecturer, I'm independent here. But as a father, I'm not independent. That's why I will not sit with students always. Did you notice? All other lecturers, to some extent, they close with lecturers. But after this class, if I go out, I won't see your face also, most of the time. If I see your face, that is also I'll ask questions only. Related to subjects. Did you notice? Right. Why? Because I want to keep myself independent. That is easy to work. Easy to work. Yes or no? So always students, auditor, to protect independence, should avoid these three relationships in the audit, not in the life. Partner can avoid son. Can partner say, hereafter you are not my son? Can tell like that. You can tell, but it won't legally effect. Right. I explain what is independence now, right? See, there's a question.
So does the second paragraph affect anything other than independence? No, nothing. Like
Second paragraph will create self-review threat.
you have to use separate teams.
Because separate team self-review means not only you or your firm.
But it's allowed.
Allowed for non-listed company. Listed company internal audit is not allowed. It's a listed entity. So first one is familiarity, second one is self-review, third one is self-interest. These three things you should explain. These three things you should understood. They are considering internal audit and they ask same audit firm to take the role. Students understood. Understood. Shall I tell you something? what we discussed today, shall I summarize? Number one, section A questions. Understood? I gave 6 different combinations. Practice those questions. Thursday, I will discuss those questions. Yes, that's Basil correct. Number two, I explained you how to write test of control answers. Is that clear? Understood? Then I explained you ethical examples, ethical issues and ethical threats. Understood? Please do one ethical issue question. Ethical issue, always non-compliance with standard ISA 220 and ISA 210. I'll make it simple. Quality control, comma, acceptance consideration. Quality control, comma, acceptance consideration. Amra. Sir, then if contingency fee is prohibited, how to decide audit fee? How to decide audit fee? It's very simple. Audit fee based on the hours you worked. Partner, the rate is different. Senior manager, the rate is different. Managers, the rate is different. Juniors, the rate is different. Trainees, the rate is different. Normally, number of hours spent by the junior is very high. Number of hours spent by the partner is very less. Partner's rate is very high. Junior's rate is very low. You got my point. So, for example, if you take lecturers also said, right, when audit is for 6-month program, I can't take here. So what I do is 50% I'll take, 50% the answer. Because why? For me, the income material there. Right. Now we changed everything 3 months. Hereafter I can take. So what I am telling is that there is a way to decide the fee. There is a way to decide the fee. How lecturer's fee is decided? Based on the qualification, based on the prices, based on the experience. Is that clear? Normally audit fee is fixed. Fixed means not the total fee, yeah? Rate is fixed. Rate is fixed. Is that clear? Is session understood? Tomorrow I'll do, sir, can you do quality control? Tomorrow I'll do, don't worry. Tomorrow, quality control and reporting and procedures I will do. Is that fine? Is this topic okay for you? So tomorrow don't miss, because tomorrow I'll discuss quality issues question. Quality issues question. Right? Is the session understood? Productive? So I'll stop with it. Okay.